been kind of a goofy week. We've had a lot of rain. We're waiting on some snow right now. So I'm going to try to do some cutting this morning. Way too wet to try to drag anything out in this part of the world. So, it's like I said, I feel like we've done a lot this week, but we haven't got a lot done, if that makes sense. Yesterday, I was up in northern Missouri, or we'll say central Missouri, north central Missouri. I was there at Nelson, Missouri. I'd never heard of it either. I was at Nelson, Missouri, looking at walnut and white oak yesterday. The day before, Dad and I hauled a couple loads of logs out of the bottom. I didn't get any video of that, so today I'm actually going to try to cut some white oak, and hopefully these white oak on this side of the road cut a little better, but fingers crossed, who knows. I don't have high hopes, but I'm hoping they do. So we're gassed up and fueled up, so we're just going to slip down over the draw here behind me that direction. They look good standing, but as you guys know, in the logging world, that doesn't always mean anything, because some of those ones from the opposite side of the road on the bluff looked really good standing, and they cut horrid. So we'll go over here and put some of these on the ground. I always enjoy cutting white oak timber. White oak, honestly, for years, white oak and maple are probably the two species I like cutting the most. White oak always seemed to be a really clean timber stand, and then just maple, we were cutting on the river. Of course, then as I got a little older, walnut kind of took precedence to all that, and well, I still love cutting walnut, but I've always got a fondness for white oak and maple. So I'll grab the tripod and we'll do a little filming. Now that's a little better start right there. That cut pretty good. Got a little bit of stump worm in it, but for what we're doing with it, that's just fine. As long as it cuts solid, that's half the battle for us in this part of the world. We don't ever expect any veneer grade, which this thing's way too rough for that anyway. See these knots and limbs. It's an old tree. It was time for it to come down. So you can see right there, got another one. They're just kind of scattered out through here. This is a pretty good group of white oak. So we'll get to whittling. These big gnarly things are really cutting good. Some of these got a pretty good, 8 to 10 foot log in them. Most of them are just big rough trees. But that, again, that's okay. That's pretty common for our part of the world. You can see the dead limbs on the top of this. Recently, on the video I posted of the great big bur oak here about a week ago, it never fails. You get some people that are probably on the wrong channel making the wrong kind of comments to the wrong audience. About you shouldn't, they've been here this long, you should leave them in the prime of their life, blah, blah, blah. That's couldn't be any further from the truth. When you see these dead limbs coming out of these trees, much like that big bur oak I cut, guys, it's time. It is time. Trees, much like people, we're not all the same size. We might be the same age, we're not all the same size. Same goes with trees. You might have a stand of trees that are all about the same age, roughly, and they might be of various sizes. So just because it's a big tree, and it doesn't mean it's just the beginning of its life cycle. And vice versa. When they tell you it's time to go like this, it's time to go. That in there cut a little bad in the heart, but all in all, not too bad. Trying to fall these tops on one another, kind of minimize the mess up here.
Get paid by any kind of big companies or anything like that. I just make these videos for fun. I don't even get paid by YouTube to make these videos, but I don't mind talking about good products. And I recently, well, about a year ago, I bought my first Helco Works axe. They're from Germany. And last week I just bought Dad one because Dad really liked mine, so I bought one for Dad, just a little longer handle. I'll probably be ordering another one. I like these short ones right here, like a 24-inch handle. I think for me and what I do, pounding these wedges, they work really good. Very, very, very well-made axe. Balanced really well. Just seems like about anything you buy from Germany, you know, you're getting a good product because they've been in business a long time. I think Helco Works, 1844. So I'd say them boys know something about logging over there in the Black Forest and such. But if you guys want a good axe, I'd definitely check out Helco Works. So every now and then things don't always go as you plan when you're cutting. And people, like a lot of local people, ask me about, how do you keep from getting hung up all the time? Well, I don't care how long you've been cutting, you still get hung up. And it seems like for me, like it's rarely ever if I'm cutting a tree, it's when I've got it on the ground, I'm working the top up like this
last white oak here I just cut, and I couldn't get myself out my hammer or wedges, so I had to walk back up the truck. Not like it's a long hike for a fat kid like me. 20 feet's a long hike. And I got the old 500i here. Honestly, that's the first time I've used this 500i to cut with in a few months. I'm just, I'm not a fan of it. You know, I know a lot of people are, and man, that's great. I'm glad you like it. There's nothing wrong with it, but when I finally got mine, I didn't think it lived up to the hype, and we didn't bother ordering another one. I've had this one right at a year now, a little over a year. I think I got it like March 4th, 3rd of last year, something like that. There's a YouTube video on it, but and at first I thought I really liked it, but the more I used it, the less I liked it. The only thing I can say really good about it is light. It's easy to start. It seems like it uses a lot of gas being fuel injected. I just don't think it has the torque, and that's what I look for in my saws is the torque, because running this RS36 chain, it grabs and it bites and it pulls and it throws and it bucks and it kicks. I mean, it's a really good chain for cutting, but at the same time, it's a very aggressive chain. So that's why, you know, stick with the 661s back there. But no, I think especially for cutting walnut, I think the 500 is probably a good saw, but just day in and day out, it's not my saw choice, and Dad doesn't like it at all, which you're hard pressed to get Dad to change to anything. When he finds something he likes, he's sticking with it. Sawdust there on me. Anyway, it's starting to snow. March 31st, we've got snow. It's wet. The forecast for the next few days does not look good, guys. Hopefully we can get some cutting in this weekend. I doubt we get to drag anything. I'd like to, but it's pretty wet, and there's a lot more rain on the way, what they're saying. So we got a lot of timber over here to cut, and this white oak is cutting exceptionally good. This is actually cutting better than I thought it would over here. So, yeah, we just got them laying down. I tried to directionally fall everything through here. Just kind of making a row through there, a top, but flip you around. So there's still several trees even right here in this cluster to cut up through here. And I just kind of started off, I made a swath just down through here, then come back and around. We don't have a big bunch of trees cut here. There's maybe 16, 17 trees what we cut this morning. Now a lot of these are bigger trees, and they took a lot of gas to get them cut down, and they took a lot of gas to get them worked up. So you don't have to cut very many trees when you're cutting trees that got a lot of footage in them. So that's the one plus side to it. I'm going to head in and meet Dad. I'm out of saw gas anyway, so I got to get some saw gas made up when I go back in, get a bite to eat, and we'll probably try to come out here and do some more cutting, because getting to cut timber like this is pretty enjoyable. Hey guys, if you like what you see, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel for all of our latest videos.